Before I start this video, I'd like to make a couple things abundantly clear. First off, I'm not trying to fish for popularity by making beef with a bigger YouTuber. Anyone who looks at my channel can see I just make videos when I want to. Popularity really doesn't concern me. Secondly, by and large, I agree with Upper Echelon Gamers' viewpoints on the current state of game development and the predatory business practices they employ. However, I think that his latest video on Bethesda and what he calls their pay-to-win practices is, I don't want to use the word misleading, but misguided, perhaps. Considering Upper Echelon Gamers is a bit of a mouthful, I'm going to shorten that to UEG for the purposes of this analysis. I'm going to paraphrase a bit here when explaining his points in the video, and I would prefer people go watch his video first, so I'll be sure to link it in the description. Also, UEG, if you do watch this, I encourage you to correct me if I misrepresent or misunderstand any of your points in the original video. My intent is to discuss what I personally disagree with and not to discredit your viewpoints. So firstly, what exactly is it that I disagree with? It is the notion that the repair kits in Fallout 76 constitute a pay-to-win mechanic, despite the fact that they don't, in any sense of the term. UEG's reasoning for calling them pay-to-win lies in how he explains the definition of winning in a game like Fallout 76, which has no explicit win condition, that being the progression itself and the amount of time poured into it. His argument, as I understand it, was that by implementing repair kits, people are given the option to bypass normal game mechanics simply by paying real money. And since those game mechanics normally take time away from normal progression, someone who simply buys repair kits and skips that portion of gameplay is allowed greater amount of accumulated time grinding. While this assertion is technically correct, it glosses over several important contextual facts. For one, the amount of time spent repairing items in Fallout 76 is not much. Weapons don't deteriorate fast enough for repair kits to have a major impact in the minute-to-minute gameplay loop. And that's not even considering a player may have perks which slow the process even further. Secondly, weapon workbenches aren't exactly an oddity either. Considering you can fast travel to your home base for free at any time when you're not in combat, or that weapon workbenches are commonly found in ruins and towns, a workbench is never that far away. In addition, it's extremely common for players to build their bases on top of common grinding areas for that exact reason. How many times have you joined a server, dropped into Whitespring, and found someone built a base right on the turf that auto-kills any ghouls it sees? Another argument he gave was that since the repair kits don't cost you materials, it saves you time from scavenging and allows you to grind further, which brings up another thing that was glossed over. Materials are commonly rewarded for things like public events, quests, and just killing enemies you'd be looting anyway, the tasks you would be doing to level up and get gear. If you aren't collecting materials, you're either just killing things for XP and nothing more, or you aren't very experienced at the game. If you fall in the former category, you probably have so many materials already that you simply don't need to collect any. If that's the case, due to the limited storage capacity, you probably don't want to use repair kits, so you can free up space in your storage box with the materials you use. But let's assume that someone simply wants to maximize their XP gains and get as far ahead of everyone else as they can. We'll also assume that this actually means something, since level 50 and above basically becomes about gear more than it's about XP, and we already explained that if you're getting gear, you're getting materials. So we have a player who only wants to kill things. He maxes out his damaging perks by foregoing perks that extend durability, and he exclusively uses repair kits to repair his weapons so he doesn't have to go back to his base in order to fix them. Couple things already. First, he still has to eat. Unless he loads himself down on food, water, and only has one gun, one armor set, and a bunch of ammo on him, he's going to need to go back to base eventually. Second, once you clear an area of enemies, you either need to server hop or change locations. Either way, by the time he's cleared even a large area such as Whitespring, his weapon probably still won't need to be repaired yet, so he still hasn't benefited from the repair kit. But let's continue this thought experiment and say he keeps going until his gun needs to be repaired. Let's assume he's in the middle of fighting enemies. A normal player could use a free repair kit they got from another activity, but let's just say they don't. Instead, they go back to their base while he would go somewhere else he couldn't be attacked and use a repair kit. The normal player would need to clear the rest of the enemies first, then fast travel back to their base. Repair Kit Man would repair first, then go back to finishing them off. By the time Repair Kit Man reaches the next destination and starts farming, the person who went back to the base would be a few seconds behind at best. So after maybe an hour of gameplay, a repair kit will save you a few seconds on everyone else. You can't tell me that a few seconds on every hour constitutes pay to win. I just don't buy that. No pun intended. Now, don't get me wrong. I wholeheartedly agree with UEG's outrage on the state of game development and his overall message in this video, that we shouldn't allow developers to normalize predatory behavior, is absolutely correct. However, I feel that the fact he chose this topic to deliver that message was irresponsible. Well, let me explain. UEG, You have a large audience of devoted fans, and for good reason. You stand up for the rights of gamers and refuse to yield even when faced with the kind of slander and backlash you've been dealt. Your words reach many people and have a lot of power, but with that power comes great responsibility. It's an issue that's too common right now in gaming journalism. Developers are making some stupid choices, but when every choice is met with equal outrage, it loses its meaning. I feel that if we aren't precise in our outrage and let them know with fire and brimstone when we will not stand for their actions, it'll just become white noise in the background. I don't really expect many people to watch this whole thing, and I expect fewer still will agree, but I felt strongly enough about this to break my however long hiatus and make a video. I want to send a sincere thank you to Upper Echelon Gamers for continuing to be the idol of fury that we need, and I truly hope I didn't misrepresent any of your opinions about this. Again, please let me know if I did. Thank you all for watching, and try to get along.